Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you, Gloves Off. I'm Paul Buitrón. I'm here with Juan Manuel Garza, who's a candidate for Laredo mayor for this coming election. We're going to touch base on his thoughts and why he decided to run into the race, and we'll take it from there. How we doing?
I'm doing great. Paul, thank you for having me.
It's good for you to come.
Thank you.
And you know what gets me is that I'm starting to see younger and younger people run, and which is good.
Okay.
But it gets me to the point that there must be something wrong when we have 10 candidates running for mayor. I mean, this administration has really done a number on a lot of things that's going on. And for people to come out and say, you know what, I'm going to throw my name in the hat, going into something obscure that we really don't know what's going in, and I'm just going to go in there because I think I can do something better. I think we need help here. Let me see what I got. So that's who I want to talk to you about. You know, what made you say, you know what, I want to run for mayor? What I've learned, I want to give in. What made you say I wasn't putting my name in there?
I have. You make a really good point that it's 10 candidates, and that's very true. And the fact that it's younger and younger people, I think, really demonstrates that there's like a big push of a new wave. It's a new vision, a new era's coming, I feel, and you need this type of initiative. This is why I decided to kind of step up to the plate. People say you can't easily do this, and nothing's easy when you think about it. So you have to have a new perspective. I feel is very important. I like to think of myself as someone who's going to really push boundaries here, and I mean that with no pun intended.
No, I understand what you're saying.
With the border, but I've traveled all across the U.S. and Mexico border, from, you could say, South Padre, Brownsville, McAllen, El Paso, Tucson, Arizona, all the way to San Diego, and I see how all these cities do so much more with so much less. I'm sure you're well aware that Laredo is one of the highest in the nation with import-export, and beating out places like New York, that we are the number one import-export inland, and we have even competition with LA and such cities like New York. And
we're the number one, and we were before COVID the number one port, period, both land and sea.
Oh, I
at one particular time. I don't know about now. I don't know if LA has already picked back up. I don't know, because we've been, there's a lot of numbers everywhere else. But before we go any further, you said something, a younger and younger crowd, and this is something true, and I'm going to bring it here. What's the average age of a person that lives here in Laredo? What do you think it is?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, you got me there, man.
The average age of the people in Laredo is 28 years old.
Okay.
Okay, so we need people that are younger, that are able to put in there. Not saying anything about the old, okay, because they have more experience. But what we have is we have a lot more younger people in Laredo that are now here, and the older politicians that we've had, the ones that are in there, have lost that connection to the young, okay? This administration lost it, okay? But I don't want to talk bad about them. It's just what they did really destroyed small businesses and other things, and we can talk about that.
Yeah.
And what gets me is that people say, no, we need somebody older. Listen, the average age of a U.S. congressman, a U.S. senator, is 75, 76 years old.
Yes.
Understand what I'm saying? But yet, in the military, if you're 60 years old, you're told to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, if you're a
and it's all because of regulations, you know, like
no, not regulations. It's something because of the mind, the physical.
You're not at your physical nor mental peak anymore, you know.
You know, so that's what they're looking at. So now you look at the leader that we have in our country.
Cognitive
well, you know,
skills
he's aging. He's aging badly. People are now watching it. So when is there an age cap that we put? People say no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of people in the city right now that have been working for the city for 25, 30 years that are in there.
Yeah.
And we have to allow the young crowd to come in. You know, they're not doing that. They're keeping the same ideas that were around 20 years ago, and it's not moving forward. It's just there. It's kind of like a stagnant pond, you know? You don't want to go swim in a stagnant pond because all of a sudden you get amoebas that eat your brain. But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you want to have something that's going to be fluid for you to, flowing, for you to always have good fish and so on and so forth.
I think,
you understand?
if I may,
Go ahead, shoot.
I think it's a power hungry type of thing also, because you look at how these people operate and they might get into politics and have the good intentions, but you know, once the money starts pouring in or they're in a position to change a law that can benefit themselves while excluding others, you know, like the Pelosi thing is something that I don't know how something like that can still be allowed in politics, that like, you know, you can have insider, practically like other people can get arrested for insider trading and stuff, but yet like when they do it and people know that they do it, it's like, no, well, you know, like we're the lawmakers, so like this is how we do it. And I think it'd be nice if we could treat these positions, all sorts of positions, the same way of like term limits, you know, like be like, hey, like you had your time, but to actually be progressive, we have to kind of shift the entire board, you know, like it's kind of, I guess say make a comparison.
We do need, excuse me for interrupting, but we do need term limits. I think we need term limits from
top to bottom.
From the top to bottom.
I agree.
And I tell this to everybody: if you,
I mean, George Washington, if I may, himself, they wanted him to you know keep going, and he's like, this is the whole basis of our country. You know, I'm serving right now, and it's the next person, and that's where we really stand out. I think compared to a lot of countries is the fact that we're so strong with that. That's like the democracy continues, at least for the presidential level, you know?
Well, if we go into a constitution, it's we the people, and we're not we the subjects. Mm-hmm. And some of these politicians have gotten to the heads that it's no longer you the people, it's you all are our subjects. And once you start getting that arrogance inside, which many of our city not only directors have, our elected ones have, it's pretty bad. It's pretty sad, and this is a country that's not for that. I say this: we need to revamp the charter. What do you think about that?
Revamp the charter. Well, what do you suggest specifically? Number one,
term limits.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm on full agreement in that sense, that type of stuff of being progressive and pushing forward, and I do think that's important. And another thing I think, staying on that subject, is taking a lot of the money from out of politics. Kind of, let's not allow these huge corporations or families or interest groups to give you all this money, and let's see who sticks around. I think politicians could be the best people if
there are some caps to election in certain cities for aldermen. In other words, you can only get 50,000, and that 50,000, that's all you can use, and that's all you can get.
Yeah.
But here, I mean, you cannot compete when you have 400,000 with one guy and the other person can barely buy signs. So you cannot compete. But again, that's what politics is. It's you don't want to be the most popular one. You want to be the favorite of the crowd. Mm-hmm. And people are missing the boat here. Yeah. People want to be the most popular. I'm the popular one.
Stick my name everywhere, all across the city.
I'm the most popular one. No. How about the favorite?
Yeah.
If you're the favorite, you're going to win. Yeah. But here they proved it in elections past that you can actually buy elections to go inside. Why? Because
which I
people
think is something that discourages a lot of people. I'm so sorry for interrupting.
Go ahead.
But it's something that discourages a lot of people, and it makes them lose their faith in democracy. And I think I'd rather always be an optimist than a pessimist. And I tell people, all the people that are like, hey, you're a great candidate, but you know, like I think it's already fixed. So like, I shouldn't vote? No, like, you know, you can't have that type of mentality. You want to really make a change, you have to be part of that. You have to do your part and go out and vote. Keep a mind that it's, whether it is or it isn't, you know, you have to keep the positive energy and really hope that the correct person will be elected into office. And
here, let's go with this one here. Give me 3 points or 3 different things that are wrong with the city right now that you can change.
That I can change? I guess the first thing, focus on the roads, focus on making sure that, you know, go the entire, have like a committee that could practically police, or even you don't even have to do a committee, keep it simple. The police officers all around, make a report of all the streets and everything that are affected, and have city maintenance go and fix all the potholes. No matter, like, not only for the certain areas, like a certain road here that runs across from one side to the other, but you know, like, let's do it for downtown, let's do it for the north side, let's do it for Pita Mangana, and keeping Laredo nicely. Another thing that I could do easily, staying with that, is adding lights to all the parks. You know, I'm sure you're aware with what happened behind Haynes. I recently cleaned up that trail, and I found out that there was a boy that was killed there, and the woman that was murdered in 2019, I believe. And not only that, like, where I used to live in Mines Road, the Border Patrol who killed his wife and son. And it's stuff like that it's like, we need to focus on keeping our parks nice, and light could do a big thing, but adding presence as well, police presence. And I would add presence to all the UISD and LISD schools. I would propose that I hope that, you know, besides having their security guards, I'd like to have a trained officer that could deal with school shootings at every single school, elementary, middle, and high school, public schools. I don't know if the city could get behind something like that, to have an LPD and the LPD chief. But I think with what happened with Uvalde, really showed a strong weakness with the police presence in schools, and the fact that they allowed something, you know, to get out of hand, and when they could have, you know, had taken the tactical advantage of taking them out and stopping so many senseless.
And it was horrific what happened in Uvalde. And it was horrific that 375 police officers were outside playing pocket pool. It was just horrific. But that's just a mirror of what's going to happen with all the other police agencies. Why? And I'm going to tell you this, and people might get mad, and it's nothing against the police, don't get me wrong, but in the state of Texas, we have something called TCLOS. And TCLOS is what governs what can be taught to police. You can be an excellent instructor for firearms and have the best thing, but if you're not TCLOS certified, you can't teach them. So the instructors that TCLOS makes, they make out of their own pedagogy, their own way of thinking. And these are the same ones that taught in Uvalde, or the same ones that teach everybody here, the same ones that teach people in Brownsville, everything else. So I'm afraid that what happened in Uvalde, you're about 85% sure that if it happened anywhere else, God forbid, the same reaction and the same attitude is going to be taking place. We need better security details on it. In Florida, got some combat vets to take care of it. I'm all for that.
I'm for that as well.
If we're gonna be taking care of our kids, hey, I want the best. It's gonna go out there. It showed us that the sheriff is the strongest lawman in the county, and I think we should have. And I used the word defund one time, and everybody got all upset, but we can't militarize all the police entities and have SWATs in all of them if they're not going to do anything about it. What we do need, we need a strong sheriff that has a strong SWAT team. Maybe 3-4 different SWAT teams that are open all day. They're going back and forth. They're circling, and once they're circling over and over, then you can have that type of movement that if there's a school shooting or if there's an active shooter someplace, the one that takes care of business is the SWAT of the sheriff. Period. Not UISD, not LISD, not Laredo, not Border Patrol. Not everybody goes in there and I'm the hero, because they just showed what they did.
Yeah.
It was
And
376 police officers were there.
Exactly, and we have to take that scenario and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Absolutely.
You know, learn from it and
Absolutely.
move forward.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think I want to prepare for that, because God forbid I pray that that's never happens in our city or anywhere, you know, but you have to start preparing and start learning from where our flaws are and start closing those loopholes.
Well, yeah, we just have, there's a difference between I've had training and I'm training.
Mm-hmm.
Understand?
So I've been in the scenario.
You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I got SWAT training. Oh yeah, we got active duties, active shooter training, 8 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah, when did you have it?
I saw that footage. You know, you had a whole. You're talking about thousands of dollars in military equipment, even like type of weaponry and everything. And was it put to good use? Taxpayers' money like that?
I mean, apparently you had a border patrol that was off duty.
Yeah.
That barred the shotgun. That ran inside and shot him.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah,
really, guy?
Because that's the power of fear is a strong motivator, you know. And I didn't know that. I thought once I read the story, he really is a true hero, because his wife was in there texting her, you know, like, I think this is it. He said, I'm going in there. Takes the weapon.
And that's and listen, we have heroes out there. We have some great police officers in there, and we have to pick and choose. You know, we have a lot of people going to the military. We have a lot of them, and they're great, and they're all great because they're going out there defending our country.
Exactly.
But how many of those end up that go into the Navy become Navy SEALs? Mm-hmm. Very few. And how many Navy SEALs do we have out there? How many of all those soldiers all of a sudden become Green Berets or Airborne Rangers, and then they become Ranger units in Special Forces? Mm-hmm. Very few. It starts getting panning out. Not everybody's there. So everybody here that goes into the police, not everybody's going to end up at the end.
Yes.
You have to put those people that are and train those people to the best.
Exactly, because just because you fit the requirement, you know, you can run the miles, or in the, let's say 6 minutes, 8 minutes time period. I forgot how much it was for the police, but and you pass the entrance exam, and you pass your polygraph, and you pass your psychological background, whatever it might be. You might fit that criteria, but that doesn't necessarily put you in the right mentality that, like these, how you said, like these people, Army Ranger, Navy SEALs, because those people, I didn't know this until I believe I saw David Boggins speak about it, but there's some people in there that have no military experience that can handle that type of intense pressure, because it's their mentality is just at that level of capability without having any military background, you know, and it's insane. But yes, I do think that this is very important, you know, making sure that these people fit the.
Listen, and the reason I talk about this, and a lot of people don't know it, I've been teaching for 30 years. I've taught police in France, in Brazil, in Mexico, here in the United States, and throughout. I've taught many of them. I've taught many of them how to deal with a knife and how to under those combative situations. Here in Texas, I've never taught, because they say, oh, you have to be TCLO certified. Okay, well, I don't teach them that. Okay, good job. Do what you want. And then all of a sudden you have the accidents that you have, and you have the issues that you have. And we have to stop having these 8-hour courses and, okay, you're certified, here's your certificate, go home, and no, it ain't that. Exactly. You have to be over and over and over and over. And we have some great police officers here, and we have some very bad ones here that are wearing badges running around. We have some we have some trigger happy ones out here that their licenses have to be taken away. We got people that you have police officers that, and I know this because they come up and goes, what would you do about this? I'm like, why is he still on the force? You know, I mean, the videos of police officers kicking others while they're on the ground with handcuffs. That's not what it's for. That's why I stopped teaching here, police officers. I haven't taught police officers here because of that reason. I do not want to teach somebody that's going to go out there and beat up somebody.
Yeah, you don't want to take that risk because you don't want to generalize that, which is good. Same way, I don't want to generalize either. I don't believe all cops are bad. The same way I don't believe all cops are good. And and you can't, like, you have to take it as the experience comes. Unfortunately, I've had some bad experience, not only here but in Mexico, that I realized corruption is alive and well, and there's people that you would believe that are there to protect you that are a threat to your own life, and I've unfortunately been put in that situation, and I wouldn't wish that upon anyone, but for that same reason, I think it comes down to the behavior between one another, holding people accountable for their actions, because
you said a word, accountable for your actions. We don't have accountability. When you have people here that go file a internal affairs report, internal affairs doesn't do anything about it. They're not going to kick out their buddies. And understand what I'm saying? Yes, they're not going to do that. So we need to start culling out these bad individuals because it makes the whole force look bad. We have to cull them out. Guess what? You've had 3 grievances in the past 2 years, buddy. You know what?
Exactly.
Maybe you should go become a baker. Maybe you should go become
exactly. There's certain people that might work at the federal level even, and they've done stuff both off duty or on duty that is like illegal stuff that you've been arrested, by Laredo Police Department. And how are you still allowed to operate at the federal level? They're like, that's above our pay grade. And it's like, no, like they need to hold you accountable that you're clearly an irresponsible person. You've fired your weapon,
And they're working elsewhere. And listen, that culling is when you remove the herd. It's an old animal, you remove it and make it meat or what have you.
Yeah.
No me entiendes? No vas a dejar poder ser. You're going to end up using it. You cull them out.
Yeah.
But here we have to cull out our employees both in the city and in the police department.
I'm 100%.
And the reason I say this is because you can tell what a good 50% of the chance when they move, all of a sudden he had several grievances and they tell him, oh, you know what? Yeah, we've had enough. We're not going to fire you because we're going to remove your badge, but you have to do a transfer. Yeah. So all of a sudden they transfer them to UISD Police Department or LISD Police Department or county attorney or the sheriff's.
Which is a great parallel when you think about it with the city positions, right? Like some of these people have a position and
they're the bad badges. So all of a sudden the bad badge gets musical chairs over here, does something here, 2-3 years down the road, they move him over here, and he's just moving around.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know that to be true because, my cousin is a CBP agent, and he's told me as well that these people can even get away with murder because at the end of the day, it's kind of well protected union that they allow them to get away with some horrific stuff because they don't want it to see the light of day, to taint their name of this person is supposed to represent us at the highest level of a federal agent, and he threatened someone's life or murdered someone.
But those are things that need to be fixed. What else would you like to fix that you say? We were talking about the water issue. What would you want to do with the water issue? Because that's an issue that's everybody's talking about.
Yeah, that's something that they can't get it out. And I don't know why I feel like they overcomplicate the situation, maybe because of the amount of expenses that it might be. And they're trying to all fight with this master plan that they don't have the correct, engineers. And maybe they don't, which is what I want to do is step in and really take a good look at it, understand the where we're at, and get us to where we have to go. I see that clearly the lines are something that's an issue, and we have to see from the oldest lines of the city to the newest ones, start replacing them, take it project by project. It'll be a long time, but we could open another water facility, you know, like cleaning, because there's a lot of contaminants in the water. Adding resin is another thing that engineers and water people at the water treatments do. You know, to just have the cleanest water. Some people told me that they open their faucet and they actually get the smell of chlorine and everything. Thank God that's never happened to me. But, you know, we have to take action. And they should have already taken action. I don't know, like that kind of shows that these people that are running for office, if they're already in a position to do something right now, and they are, and they haven't done it for anyone, what makes you think that they're going to do it in the future?
That's why I say that we need term limits. And term limits is this: you're in there for 4 years. If you can't fix potholes, street bumps, street lights, fire hydrants, you need more police presence, more fire presence in your district.
Yeah.
You didn't need another 4 more years to figure it out if you couldn't figure it out then.
Exactly.
We don't.
But it all comes down to the simple thing of initiative. You know, all these people, I don't know what really drives them. I don't know them like that. Their inner thoughts of their mechanism, you know. But
and I know most of them personally. They're good people. I know most of them personally they mean well. But I guess they get caught up with ego and they get caught up with something else they get caught up with the director saying, "Oh, you're doing the best job in the world." "Oh, am I really?" "Yes." You know, we all love you. And
you kind of you go off like into
La La Land, and then they start reading social media, and then they get mad, and then they start.
Like, oh, these people are just against me. They're out there to go get me.
Yeah, well, they're haters. No, how about do your job? Yeah. Now you're getting paid for it. Do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what's going to happen here in Laredo is, you talked about that your concern was bringing in companies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, that you can bring in companies here if you get elected mayor. All right. I'm with you in that. I've been in doing seminars everywhere else. I'm gonna tell you this one time. Back in 2004, I was in Reno doing a seminar for a martial art federation, and we were walking with another martial artist, real nice guy, and we walked and we saw this robotics convention. But since we had a badge that we could be in the same building, they said, "Hey, let's go inside because we can go into all the other conventions that we're running around." It's just that badge that we had because we were kind of like the event, right? So we walked in there, robots from all kinds. From now the ones that you start seeing now at the rest areas, in the fast food restaurants, ordering food, those type of robots también, because people want to get $15 an hour, so we cut down the cashiers. Now you just type it in, and you got 2 cooks in the back. Understand what I'm saying? It's a lot faster. To robots to manufacturing jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And robots from all kinds of robots.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, why in the back, I see my City of McAllen stand.
Mm.
And I start talking to them, "Hey, you guys are from McAllen, what are you doing here?" "Hey, well, we're pushing the city, we're pushing that if businesses want to come in." They were there pushing McAllen for businesses to go over there and do. Talking 2004.
Yeah.
I've never seen Laredo do that one bit.
Yeah. That would be nice, huh?
That would be nice. So number one, that's the first place that we have to start doing to start bringing in some of these companies. But again,
it all goes down, I think, initiative, right? Or what do you think is there?
What happens with that? Well, it's not initiative because we have the people that want to do it. It's lacking. Nobody's called out the old guys. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this over here because we've had good people. We're going to do good initiatives. We're not going to do that. We're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
We've already done it this way. This is the way we do it, and this is what we're going to do all the time.
Unfortunately, that's what bothers me too. Like here in Laredo, the same builders kind of get the same, like their contracts given to the highest bidder. That tends to be the same type of builder all the time, and it's like you're kind of benefiting one-sided, you know, like all the.
We have the same architect building a bunch of stuff, build everything for the city. People don't say anything about it. It's, we have to start to bring in this architectural firm that says, "Oh," and all their associates and all their cronies and all the cheerleaders, and the first thing that they say is, "Now we want this binational park." It's 2 million. No, it's 5 million. The federal government's going to pay. Now, we never said that federal government. Oh, now we're going to leave it to the people if they vote yes or no. Mm-hmm. It's just a grift. Mm-hmm. Okay? So that's what I'm afraid of. And I'm like this. Yes, I understand the dangers of EPA, the air, the water pollution, and what it causes to the human body. I understand that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
But I also understand, let's not go after this company for a polarized political means and destroy 300 lives, because unless you're going to tell me that you're going to have another job for all those people that are working,
and that's why,
instead of it going somewhere else.
Why,
understand what I'm saying?
That's why at the end of the day, you know, if you're going to pollute, I don't think you should just get away with it. I spoke with a state representative and with a state senator, and we had a conversation that it's focusing on the constituents, and
you know what kills more than that factory?
No, as far as killing, it's not.
You know what kills more than that company? All the drug that's coming in from our border.
Yeah.
And it's coming in
not
only from the tractor trailers, it's coming in through the border.
Whataboutism here though, like the drug issue is big.
That's what kills more.
You can't,
and nobody's
just
doing
say,
anything about it.
Forget this.
No, we're not forgetting this. No, I'm telling you the same thing. Yeah. That's what kills more.
I'm sure, and
people are like, oh, it's okay. Why? Because when you start looking at the majority of these individuals that are going there, listen, I used to teach in college. Yeah. And I remember one time they said, hey, we're going to have a meeting at so-and-so's place because we have this project. Paul, would you be involved? And I said, here in LCC. And I get sure, so I show up. And I knock on the door and open the door. And the guy turns around, well-known professor, I'm not going to mention the name, turns around and he has a white ring like this on both. And it wasn't cocaine. You know what he was sniffing? Liquid paper.
A professor.
And I started laughing. I go, you're a liquid paper sniffer. And I go, you're going to be the one that's talking about this? So I started making fun of him. You know, Jesus Christ, we have a bunch of liquid paper. And he's been there for years, and he's one of the top dogs, and this and this. But you don't even know if he's on his right mind. And you know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that when you have people standing up cheerleading, who they are. Okay, it's fun to be up there going for, and yes, we respect your First Amendment rights, but also respect the First Amendment rights of everybody else that's running. You can't just be this. We have to work. That's what the city's about. I'm glad we're having this dialogue.
Same here.
Because that's in the city. We don't have that. We have either you do it this way. It's not going to be there. We're going to go block you. We're going to go blackball your business. We're going to go. We're going to go after you.
We go in circles. It's like swimming in circles. That you don't get anywhere. And at the end of the day, you have to find common ground. And I can't tell you that I'm gonna fix this, be the savior for Laredo, and like do everything. But I'm gonna do my best, and you have my word that I'm gonna give you my best.
But if you would tell me right now, let me tell you one thing. But if you would tell me, you know what, I'm very good friends with Elon Musk. You know what, I'm a very good friends with. Patrick Bat David, I'm very good friends with so and so here, and they're gonna come down here and they're gonna give us a leadership course for our city for it to start focusing right. More likely you got my attention. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and trust me, if I were friends with all those guys,
you know what I'm saying?
Whoever it is, I would definitely be like benefit our city. Like
we've had people there here.
Exactly, that have that influence.
That have that influence and haven't done anything with it.
Exactly, and that's what we keep kind of touching on that subject, that Laredo's very controlled. And whether people see it or believe it or not, the reason we don't move forward is because certain individuals don't allow us to move forward. Like I
always hear that certain individuals don't allow us to move forward. There's what
I mean, think about property itself. Who are the biggest? I'm not trying to make enemies or anything here. I don't know any of these people, but
and if they do have like the Kilums, like the Benavides, like the Peñas, and they all have
and
their
their candidate,
and good, but when they have that type of influence, and their grandfathers bought into land, and their grandfathers are investing into that, more power to them.
Yeah,
if I had that type of land in front of it, I would also be selling it. I would tell you guys, you want to move through here? Let's do it this way.
Exactly.
But only because they say that doesn't mean they're corrupt. And that's what Laredo needs to understand. That doesn't mean they're corrupt. And if they want to bankroll
that's why I didn't say that word, corrupt. But it's control. It is control.
And if they want to bankroll a candidate, more power to you.
But it's benefiting their interests.
No, of course, it's called business.
Yeah.
You don't think it benefits anybody?
But then we have to touch the subject that then you have to treat the entire city like it's a business instead of.
So of course it's a corporation. The city of Laredo is a corporation that's been run wrong.
Yes, but what officials? Your title is a public servant.
Now that they're getting paid, now they became employees of the city of Laredo. So then by that virtue, then we should not be having elections. Or they should not be getting paid, they should not be getting retirement as they're having it right now. Mm-hmm. So that's a different story, that's a different thing that we can talk about later on. But what I am going to tell you right now is this. The city of Laredo is a corporation. The city of Laredo has to grow. It's not, it can only grow that way. So we have to talk to those individuals in those areas.
It has to grow the right way.
It can only grow that way. It can only go that way. Now, the right way if that's points of view for everybody else, and we have to come to common ground with the people that own those parcels of land.
Mm-hmm. Of course, and which is why I have development plans. I want to present to them, and hopefully they're lukewarm to the ideas that I have. Development ideas like in front of every college that I've been to, UT, Texas Tech, Texas State. Which other ones have been to? College Station and UTSA. You have all things in common that they don't put the nightlife far out in downtown or like just one bar here, one bar there. They tend to do a strip and that could revolutionize Laredo itself.
They've tried to do it. Laredo right now, it's in Laredo, even though they say it's very small business friendly. Listen, in 2021, they came out a study that 9 or 10. Mm-hmm. Within 2 years, it dropped.
Yeah, because the pandemic, it might put it in that position, but once you have everything open,
you know what I'm saying. So
you can't.
So what's happening after that? No, is it really small business friendly? No, it's not. Look at the way they treated the small businesses during the pandemic. When you had 6, 7 inspectors go in there into a business and harass people because they were open in compliance with what the governor was saying, and they were over here intimidating. When you have, look at the way the police treated the individuals. One guy was washing a car with his 2 sons, and they gave 10 minutes past the curfew, and then you know what I'm saying? They gave 2 kids $400 tickets. $400 tickets. And then the police officer. You seen him in the video.
The as well with the ladies that had a baby shower and everything. I remember.
Listen, what happened during 2020, we found out who our neighbors were, and God forbid we get some yo-yo like Beto O'Rourke to go in there and start controlling guns or go out there and confiscate guns, because you're going to have a lot of carnage here because of all these people. The same ones that said though we're going against. Yeah. It's ugly. It was ugly. It was something
I think that really separates us with Mexico, and I've had this conversation with people before that, Mexico can't properly form the people to really revolutionize and say that they don't like being in control, being controlled by the government, by the army, by the police officers, to be intimidated and everything, because they're not allowed to have any even ammunition or weapons.
Of course.
But that's a big difference here in the U.S. that we're one of the few countries that people have the right.
The only.
Yeah,
and they're trying to and they're trying to remove the Second Amendment. And
look, I don't know how far. You're right. Certain people are trying to remove it, but you could tweak it and add regulations to certain things. Like the assault rifles is a big topic that people are like. Some people that are Army veterans, Marine veterans, and everything, they're like, you know what? I want to set the example. I don't need this disarmament. And they're like, I'm fine with a shotgun or a pistol. Then the same way, but then you get into controversial stuff, getting into this topic, because the same and everything, like I'm proud. And some people are like, no, he hates, our military. He hates this. And then you saw the military actually join in, and then they were like, well, like you can't have it both ways. Like have your cake and eat it too. Like, yeah, I feel like we're kind of.
That's just disrespect. That's disrespect, plain and simple. Whether you knee or not knee, don't knee in front of me because I'll kick you to the fucking ground.
No, I'm sorry.
I said, don't knee in front of me in front of the flag because I'll kick you to the ground.
Yeah. See, like you
understand what I'm saying?
Disrespect. But
and now don't burn the flag in front of me.
No, that's a disrespect.
You know what I'm saying?
But some people believe that the taking a knee is the highest form of respect, because they showed as well with the military, with the
there should have been some punishment if butts of wars, and that's no longer there. Once you're in the military, you're the property of the U.S. government. So that's a different story.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? So that's where the United States is where the United States is. And listen, we have a beautiful country. That's why people come here. That's why they risk coming over to the grounds that you see with some of these people, what's happened to some of these girls and kids and everybody. They risk that. Why? Because we are the number one country in the world, and we should act like the number one country in the world. We are the number one port of entry here in the world.
And I want to make us the number one port
of
entry.
In everything.
On this face of the earth, I'm trying to make us Laredo. Like, I have a vision that, like, I don't think people understand, because people always speak about potential, and that's a word that I kind of don't like when they talk about Laredo, because they're like, Laredo has so much potential, but people leave. There's always a but this, but that, but certain people, and then you get into whatever the conversation steers into. But the thing is, I'm trying to turn that potential into kinetic energy and get that ball rolling, and hopefully start a movement that people can say, you know what, we can do better. Because like I said, I've seen other border cities that it's like, how are you doing this? How are you nicer if you have less money? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
we have to go back with morals. You have to be a nice person. Shake hands, open doors. I was talking to this with a couple of young guys here that said, Prof, I opened the door to
the culture, the behavior,
to this lady, and the lady, and she didn't even say thank you. Don't worry about it. What you did was
exactly. Don't do it for the thank you.
Don't do it
because it's the right thing
to do.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. We have to bring back that, and people do not understand that.
I agree 100%.
And so when you have somebody that, for example, I could care less unless it's protesting hate. Hate's a different story.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're protesting whatever, you have all the right under First Amendment, peaceful protest. But once you start breaking buildings and you start breaking this and start going after people, and that's a different story. Now that's hate. Now you've crossed the line. And once you cross the line, things occur. And so people need to understand that. Who's going to protect the small businesses if riots start going up? Who's going to do that? People, you don't need to riot. You can get your point across. You can go out there and have peaceful protests. Nobody says you can't. It's part of our right for peaceful protest.
Yeah, the pandemic really.
You know what I'm saying?
What's it called?
And there's a lot of wrongs here that we can go after and say, you know what, fix this. Let's go out here and protest this. You know what, your emissions is up here. Your emissions is low. Fix it. Protest every day. Protest outside. Picket line outside until they start getting the drift. But don't go over there. You know what? Your emissions is not low. Okay, you're supposed to be at 80%. Right now you're at 60%. Let's get it above 80%. And all of a sudden they start getting it above and start fixing it. Then they're doing something benefit.
Yeah, but
you understand what I'm saying?
In the sense, I mean, I feel like in that subject we're just going to feel very different about it. The sense that
no, I'm not talking about the same thing. I'm just talking about in general.
Like doing better. You're saying that you could always do better. And I agree. And in that case, yes. There's always something that we can improve on.
But we can't condemn somebody until all things have failed. And we can't condemn, period. Who are we to condemn? So
we're
you know what I'm saying?
We're in a position to
people talk about vices. Oh, you can't go this, because gambling vices is this, and you see all the old ladies in the church beating their chest and and then at night until the maquinitas.
Yeah. And then that's another thing that we condemn that stuff. And then we allow it at the same time. It's a very slippery slope. That it's
know what I'm saying?
Like it's allowing in certain people's districts and everything, and it's just
why don't we legalize it?
Yeah.
But the city gets money for it. But let's legalize it.
Yeah.
But the city's getting money for it. Let's legalize it. For them to be giving cash out. And we have more tourism here. Just imagine how much tourism
Imagine
if we legalize gambling in the city of Texas and here in Laredo.
In the city of Laredo.
You know
Imagine if the Kickapoo was somewhere like in Laredo. I went to the other border towns as well, like Eagle Pass. I've been in San Diego. San Diego didn't have one in the American side, but they had one in Tijuana. They had several actually, and the amount of money that they draw, it was crazy. Like, you know, for the city itself, like Tijuana is actually a very beautiful city. If out of all the border cities, I'm gonna give it to TJ that I had a great time out there. I loved it.
But you know, getting to this point, it's, you know, Laredo used to be known, and I go all over the place. Oh, I've been to Laredo. I was in Boys Town. Papagayos.
I don't know any of that. Yeah,
that was
before my time.
district. Papagayos was a brothel. Oh, I've been to Papagayos over there. It's a great town. Chinga, you're like, oh, chinga, they know Laredo because of a brothel. Chinga. And then in Nuevo Laredo, yeah, we went to Laredo. You're like, and then they're here. Oh, the great tourism del otro lado. What? The red district and what? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They were just they were never. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
So I mean, we can do better. We can do better.
And it all takes.
And it's not going to
be with one person.
And it's not going to be no binational park that's going to bring tourism here. Mm-hmm. Tourism here is going to be by bringing icon restaurants that people are going to travel and support.
And when they come to Laredo, through whether it's Bridge 1, Bridge 2, or anywhere, that they come in and they come into a beautiful city, you know, like that the great way from Mexico to the U.S. say, hey, this is America. This is the best goddamn country in the world, you know, and we needed to present that because we're the port of entry. We're the face of Laredo when you come in.
Yeah.
The rest is the body.
And you know that that was told to them by Trump to build up everything here instead of putting a wall and building bulkheads and make it beautifying. You know, he was a real estate mogul. The best there is.
Who was it?
Trump, President Trump.
Oh yeah, Trump.
And
so he said that instead of the border.
And
wow.
They denied it.
Yeah.
They denied it. They denied it in the meeting. So I'm telling you that things have been proposed to these people here, and it's the ABCs of destruction of any corporation: arrogance, bureaucracy, complacency. Laredo has arrogant politicians.
Complacency, I think, is the very strong one here in Laredo. That I feel people have become complacent.
Try opening up a small business. The paperwork that you have to go through.
Oh yeah, which is why I want to make it easier for the people here. I want to allow income-based permits to kind of, you know, make it easier for these people to, like, give them the tools to rise. You know, instead of making it harder. Let's say for a food and beverage, making it a $7,000 permit to serve alcohol or whatever. You know, how about, like, it's an income based and you kind of still draw in money, you're still making money, but by making it income based, you can give all these other people that wouldn't have that opportunity, those $7,000 in hand, you give it to all these people to start rising themselves and have that money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to kind of start opening doors instead of making it harder for them to kind of open that door. You get me? Instead of just... Yeah.
There's so much. If people need to sit down, and everybody needs to sit down and say, you know what, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah. But you have to have a solution for all of them.
And you can't just say everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I feel is very important.
And then go up here with our leaders and say, okay, what are we going to do about this? Let's tackle this. Let's tackle
exactly.
this. Exactly.
And go down the list.
And then this month, let's tackle this. This next month, let's tackle it. But they're not. You see, when you tell them something,
they self-offend themselves.
Yeah, you said it. Well, we're running out of time. We had a good conversation.
We did. It was a great conversation.
And if somebody wants to help you out being mayor, where can they call you?
They can call me. You'll find me on Facebook at Juan Manuel Garza Mayor of Laredo. You can find me on Instagram at Mayor of Laredo as well. You can find me on my website juanmgarza.com, where you can contact me specifically there. As well, or DM me on any of these other social medias. Which other one? I think that might be it. My email as well. It's admin@juanmgarza.com. What else? What else? My phone number should be posted anywhere as well, so you
Okay.
can contact me there.
Folks, here you got it, and we're gonna still continue talking here, but you guys, we're gonna leave you with this: stay in peace, be at peace, research each and every candidate, understand what's going on, understand the face of Laredo, understand where we're going, because there's a lot of things that are wrong, and we're not pointing fingers in any which way or not, but there's a lot of wrongs that we can't just make right away. It's gonna take a process, and we can't just go out there abruptly and do something. But other than that, you'd be safe. Take care.
Hey guys, God bless. Have a good day.